YouTube, how the heck you doing? This is Corey here with Watcher of Realms. This is going to be the Arbiters team composition for Season 8. This is going to be the Towers and Keeps. I'm going to go ahead and cover both. So let's just go ahead and get straight to it. So when it comes specifically to the Arbiter team, there's so many different variations that you can go ahead and do. Let's go ahead and set up one of the most common ones as the least as of right now. So here we go. Let's put this here. And then here. So one thing to note, this is a Eunomia. However, you can easily go ahead and honestly the preferred substitution is actually going to be Carnelian if you're going to go ahead and run a setup like this. Actually, if we want to go ahead and be very kind of factual, is actually built like this, right? So let me go ahead and explain it so it at least makes a little bit of sense as to why I'm actually placing Brokir backwards, one tile, and then having Praetus technically in Garnet Guard range. So here's how the team functions, right? Praetus is obviously going to be an HP subs because you want him to be a little bit tanky. Secondarily, right, Carnelian, I know I'm clicking Eunomia, but this is Carnelian, just kind of keep that in mind, right, is going to go ahead and bounce orbs from Brokir over to Praetus, basically going ahead and give him that additional kind of tankiness because he's going to be invulnerable to damage whenever he goes ahead and procs Carnelian's passive. So that's the whole purpose of placing it like this. Secondly, right, I is in this particular position here. Her entire job is to go ahead and layer out all these ice crystals, pretty much covering the entire map. So what's going to happen is the units are going to get here, and Praetus is also going to be able to hit them effective immediately once they get here, right? So that's how this team is built. Now, there are some interesting ways to go ahead and counteract this to beat it, but truth be told, this is one of the more common strategies as of right now, mainly because you're baiting the Praetus, and Praetus' entire job is kind of to take out the Garnet Guards, and after that, it gets way more tricky for your opponent when it comes to either building up a swarm or just going ahead and taking out Brokir to go ahead and win. Also, third, right? Ingrid in this particular tile is amazing because she actually has the ability to hit the units now because Brokir is placed one tile backwards. What will happen is whenever Ingrid does go ahead and ult, when I say ult, I mean do her AoE damage, which is going to be her her AoE form, right? When she goes ahead and does the massive laser beam, she will pretty much hit the entire map. She's going to hit all the way up into spawn, hit this additional tile here, and hit this additional tile here. So she's going to basically wipe out anything that's being developed on the map. And with some decent attack speed, she is actually going to just do multiple hits over and over and over. And if she's A3, it's absolutely a problem because she's going to constantly just deal with anything that's being developed on the other side of the map away from Brokir and away from the rest of the units here. Now because she's going ahead and spawning up these crystals, she's going to be really good insurance policy for any dogs that are going to get put through here because they're going to get stuck right here, or right here. Actually, it's very interesting, but units tend to get stuck here, right? And Praetus is going to be able to free hit this, and Ingrid is also going to go ahead and deal damage to these units because obviously there's going to be a tank here. There's going to be some unit here, so whenever Ingrid does her AoE hits, all these units are also getting caught in that damage line, right? So that's one of the setups for this. You can go ahead and swap this, right? Where if you go ahead, and I'm going to exit out of here, and instead of using Ingrid, you have the ability to use a Pelagios, or you have the ability, and let's just kind of swap her out. You have the ability to go ahead and use Pelagios or Valkyra if you would like. And let's remove remove Eunomia, Pelagios, and then we're going to go ahead. I have Lily set for another team, but ideally you'd use Lily in this comp. Here we go. And here's going to be another variation that's relatively common. And thankfully, we have the ability to kind of flex this a little bit here because there's multiple units that you can place in this particular tile. So here we go. There we go. And then Ezreal here. Doesn't necessarily matter where I put the Ezreal, but this is fine, right? So here's how this team is going to work. Valkyra can easily go ahead and be replaced by any unit that has multi-tile range. So you could use an Ares if you really wanted to, that would be fine. You could even go ahead and use a Ymrit. Ymrit is going to be your number one choice for this because Ymrit is going to go ahead and give that Winter's Bias. He's going to go ahead and give that Freeze. He's going to give a substantial amount of AoE damage as well whenever units are coming down. So Ymrit is A1 for this, right? The number one choice that you have the ability to use in this particular tile. Now, Praetus, he's going to go ahead and hit these units. Obviously, in this tile that we've already discussed ad nauseum, right, in the previous video, you can go ahead and use Garnet Guards on him. So, Lily, I know Ezreal's here. Ezreal's fine as well. Carnelian's great as well, right? Any healer that has the ability to cheat death as a mechanic is going to be great for this tile because the entire point is to keep Praetus alive. If you're able to do that, you're feeling absolutely amazing. Good job, right? Now, Pelagios is here. Now, Pelagios is going to go ahead and give you some really good AoE damage. He's going to go ahead and ult and kind of bring these units back in if they are going to go ahead and pass broke here. But pretty much, if you ever played for Season 5, this is very, very, very close to one of these standard teams that we saw back then. Actually, if we were going to go ahead and be very specific, I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to go ahead and change it to what the Season 5 team was, just so you have a little bit of an understanding as to why certain things work. And another variation that you can do if you don't really trust your Pelagios' damage. Here we go, Constance. Now, if you don't really trust your Pelagios' damage, which is more than fine, you can stack this, right? You can go ahead and put Constance here. Now, what Constance is going to go ahead and do is go ahead and buff Praetus and buff Pelagios so that they do more damage. Now, obviously, Rokir is not getting healed in this particular situation by Constance, but that's more than fine, right? Constance is going to go ahead and give you 3 additional block because you're going to use her exclusive artifact or Astral Obelisk, obviously. And so that's 3 block. So if a unit gets past here, Constance should be able to go ahead and give you some additional protection from that, while also giving meaningful damage boosts to both Pelagios. So whenever he ults, he's able to deal with any swarms, and whenever Praetus is ulting, he's able to deal with any major tanks that are kind of showing up on the map. So that's one of the main things. Let's hop out of this. And there's so many different flips, and I apologize. I'm just going to go through them because, good lord. Now, I actually do like, and I'm going to test this personally just because I'm weird and I just want to see how things work. But let's go back to the Arbiters. And we're going to do Eunomia, Ingrid, and then go back to I. Where is my I? She's esoteric unit. There we go. So here's one thing that I'm probably going to do personally, and I'm going to explain my method. Not my method, but like my rationale behind it. So here we go. Here we go. And then this. Actually, let's swap this, because what I want is actually something like this. Now, here we go. So you can kind of shift this around, and even if we want to be more specific, let's do it like this, right? I want Eunomia here, and I want I here. So the whole purpose is, right, in theory, and I need to test this because I'm not like 100% sure, but what will happen is Eunomia will go ahead and give bounce healing to all these units here. Actually, let's do it like this because I feel like this makes more sense. It genuinely does. So here's what happens, right? The whole purpose is Eunomia is going to go ahead and give a attack speed boost on her second ult. That's guaranteed. It's going to be the entire duration after that point, right? First ult, Praetus is going to get it. Second ult, it's 100% permanent. So what happens is I is going to go ahead and get an attack speed boost. Praetus is going to go ahead and get an attack speed boost. Now, the win condition against this team is 1, Praetus dies, right? Then obviously that sucks. But even then, technically, you can still kill Praetus with Carnelian, so you are getting a meaningful boost, at least as a substitution, if your Praetus is able to survive. In that case, Praetus is going to attack much faster with that 100 attack speed boost, and he has the potential to basically solo the tank, very easily. And if that happens, the strategy that is used to go ahead and beat this team becomes much more difficult, especially if you're running an A3 Ingrid, right? So this is a potential substitution that I'm personally going to test just to see how viable it is and kind of mess with the placements, because if Eunomia has the ability, because she does bounce healing, right, to go ahead and give heals over to Brokir, then that's amazing. That's like a really good sign, because obviously the first unit that's going to get hit is Praetus, and then they're going to go ahead and bounce over. So I'll just have to test it. Personally speaking, I haven't had the most amount of time to test Eunomia's interaction with the map, but that's one thing to just consider, right? Now, that is going to be the main two teams, at least for the keep. Well, not two, but the main teams for the actual tower. When we are looking at the keep, is a little bit different, right? So the whole keep right now is similar to how the tower kind of functioned previously in last season, right? You're relying on Reeve and you're relying on Brokir and you're relying on a substantial amount of CC changes occurring. So here's going to be the team setup. Obviously, anything placed in here is just under so much potential damage and just danger just due to Garnet Guards. It's not even viable. So what happens is you go ahead and put Lily here. Lily in this position is not able to be hit by anything. Like, literally nothing touches her. She's safe. She literally just happens to be safe. So she's covering Praetus, she's covering Reeve and Brokir. Now the real purpose of this is, truth be told, the only unit that's getting protected here is Praetus, and so nothing matters, because it's not like Brokir is going to die. It's not like Reeve is going to die. Praetus is your main target that's going to get under some threat. So you go ahead and do it like this, right? So whenever a unit gets here, Praetus is going to go ahead and start chunking them out, and Reeve and Brokir are going to go ahead and ult and do some CC. Now, if that happens, that's perfect, because Ingrid is also right here. So what does that mean? Ingrid, under no circumstance, is going to go ahead and swap from single target. It's just not going to happen, right? Just based off of her position in this map right now, she's not going to swap over if you place her here. And if you have any meaningful damage dealer right here, you are golden. You're set. You're going to be fine. If they go ahead and try to swarm you, Reeve is obviously going to go ahead and ult, stagger that, and Ingrid is just going to get the chance to free hit them the entire time that they're just in a massive CC chain. So this is going to be the team that I honestly strongly recommend for the keeps. Now, there are some ways to go ahead and beat it, but it really is BP dependent, and if it's an A3 Ingrid, man, is it tricky. But yeah, that is going to be the Arbiter teams. See ya.